So it's going to be New Year's Day, and in the Mehra household, there's a special tradition where we all sort of get together and we meet for lunch on the 1st of January. But this year it's not happening, but we're still going to cook a special meal, and you might be hungover, but you can still cook a special meal which is simple, easy to do, but sounds very exotic. The simplest thing to cook when you're hungover is a nice yakhni pulao, and in winter of course it tastes really yummy when it's steaming and you get those lovely aroma, fragrance of everything, and pair that with some nice cucumber. And I'm going to show you how to make that cucumber special. It's something from my childhood. I don't see too many people doing it nowadays, but Amit's also grown to like it, and I'm sure you'll like it as well. And for dessert there will be GAAJAR ka halwa. For the yakhni pulao, I will first be making the yakhni. We're doing this with mutton, and this is approximately half a kilo of mutton, which I will be cooking with a little dahi and onions and green chilies and some ginger garlic paste, garam masala, tej patta, and of course salt, and a little Kashmiri mirch to give it some color. Once the yakhni is done, the korma is done, I will then be adding it to the rice. And I'm not going to pre-cook the rice. We're going to cook the rice in the soup in the stock of the mutton, so that every grain gets that flavor. And then of course we're going to add a little saffron, which I'm going to soak in this milk, and some fried onions. For the cucumber, which is basically a finely chopped mixed salad, and you can, it's normally done with onions and tomato and cucumber. I've used green pepper, capsicum instead of cucumber, and green chilies. And you toss all this up with a little salt and some sugar. Yeah, it took some time for Amit to get used to the sugar and not complain. I'm going to add a little more salt. A little lemon juice, not too much, and you mix it all up. And you can add yogurt to this, which is basically what they do in restaurants and stuff, but I prefer adding a little cream. Not too much, just a little bit. So 1 and 2, that's it. 2 tablespoons of cream. If you like it more creamy, you can add more. I think I will add a little more. So the cucumber is ready. I will now put this into the fridge so that it stays nice and chill, and it will go very well with that hot yakhni pulao. This is the Hangover GAAJAR ka halwa. I have about a kilo of carrot, those lovely red winter carrots, which I've grated, and I'm going to be adding a liter of milk to it. I shall add a little ghee, and of course the nuts, which have been chopped, nuts and raisins, and there will be sugar. So the oil that I fried the onions in, I'm going to use that same oil to make the yakhni. It's got a nice onion flavor already in it. So in it goes. This is about 3 tablespoons. All these chopped onions will go into it, the onions and the green chilies. The green chilies I shall just break. As you can make out, when I was chopping the onions for the birista, these are the bits that stayed fat. So they go in. Couple of bay leaves, about a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, about half a teaspoon of the Kashmiri mirch, the mutton, and I will add 2 heaped spoons of yogurt. Salt is as per your taste, but this is also going to be added to the rice, so if there's a little extra salt, it doesn't matter. Now this will all go onto the fire. We also add about a teaspoon of garam masala to this. That of course will not be the only khushboo that goes into this. The saffron will take care of a lot of the fragrance. We're going to leave that there. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the gajar ka halwa on, because that is going to take time. It doesn't need attention, but it needs time. Okay, so the first thing that goes into this gajar ka halwa is, I'm just doing 1 kilo carrots, so that much ghee is more than enough. Come on baby, light my fire. Let the spoon also melt. Once the oil starts making noise, once it starts telling you, I'm hot, I'm cooking, just put the flame on sim. I'm going to be adding a little elaichi into this, just sort of break them up. Raw smell seems to have gone, and I'm now going to add some hot water. It's been on for barely 3.5 minutes. Put the flame up. And put the lid on. Meanwhile, my ghee is burning. And the secret ingredient, a pinch of salt. Give it a bit of a stir. Add the milk. Remember to use full cream milk, because there's going to be no khoya in this. You could garnish it with khoya if you like, but it's fine even without. And this is going to simmer and keep cooking. Do not cover it, because the milk will boil over. And what happened to my prawn malai curry the other day is what will happen. You'll have all the milk on the range instead of in the halwa. So that's just gonna cook there. Mr. Cooker is making noise. Mr. Cooker wears topi. So we're gonna let this build up to a pressure, and once it does that first whistle, I'm going to put the flame down, put it on simmer, and let it stay for around 10 minutes, which is enough for the meat to cook, and then we shall move on to the next step. Meanwhile, gajar ka halwa keeps cooking. When it comes to the whistle, And once the dough is looking this side, we shall put this on simmer. This is some very nice saffron that Amit has got hold of, and the Kashmiri mirch that we use, that also comes from the same company, Carmine County. They seem to be sourcing their stuff directly from Kashmir. So I have some warm milk here, and this precious thing, amazing fragrance. So just a little bit. Ow, hot! That will keep soaking while the yakni gets cooked, and we shall use it in the last. The milk has come to a boil, so I will put this on low fire. I haven't added the sugar yet, because if I add the sugar, then the carrot might stop cooking. I will add the sugar in the end, and then let it all caramelize. It's been around 10 minutes since this poor thing has been making noise, so now I'm going to switch it off and wait for the pressure to fall and then open it. Meanwhile, this is going to keep cooking. The pressure is down, and I have rice in my kadhai pan. This is approximately 300 grams, 3 measures of this. So 300 grams of rice to half a kilo of mutton. And the mutton needs to be with bone, otherwise you don't get the flavors. And now what I'm going to do is, look at that, beautifully cooked. I'm going to be straining it out. I'm going to be picking out the meat pieces. This is a mix of ran, which is the leg, and sina, which is the chest portion. It's nice to have a little bit of sina mixed into whatever cut of meat you're buying for your yakhni pulao or your biryani, because the sina meat tends to be fatty, and that sort of adds a nice flavor to the rice. So that's a sina piece, as you can see, it's very fatty. I've got the meat and the rice over here, and the solid masalas, the sabut masalas, so to speak, are in this. And this is the yakhni. So this is what is going to be cooking the rice. And I need to measure out 6 of these, because that's my measure of rice. And it's very hot right now, so I need to hold it with something. So this also has oil in it and the fat of the mutton, if you will notice. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need to get the 6. So that's 6. And I have a little bit more stock just in case this rice drinks up too much water, then I don't need to worry about more stock. So this I'm going to sit on the gas. Generally people tend to use, I don't know, half a kilo of mutton and half a kilo of rice and things like that, but then it sort of reduces the flavor of the rice, and I like to have it more meaty and less starchy, so I like more mutton than rice in my yakhni pulao. I use a measure of 1:2, rice 1, water 2, because it's perfect for making your rice nice and fluffy without overcooking it. And just wash the rice, don't soak it, because when you soak it, then it becomes watery, it takes in water, and then your water measurement goes haywire. A lot of people who are experienced cooks use that finger measure, but my mother used to do that, but I'm not very good at that. I prefer to have a little bit of precision in my cooking. But I'm actually going to bring this to a boil. It's already hot, but I'm going to bring it to a boil on the gas and then put it on simmer and cover it and let it cook. This is a nice measurement for 2 people. There's always a little left over for whoever wants to eat a little more the next day, but it's perfect for 1 meal for 2 people. So this will come to a boil, and meanwhile see, the milk is already drying up. Khoya is basically dried up milk. So when you allow the milk to sort of dry up in the pan, you're basically creating khoya. I remember my maternal grandmother, they didn't have refrigerators in those days, and at night I remember whatever milk was left over in the kadhai that hadn't been consumed, she would pour it in and put it on top of the chulha, the wood fire, and let it sort of dry up, and then she would eat that as her dessert. And oh my god, as a child I used to really yearn to be given that, but of course never voiced my desire. This doesn't need stirring anymore. It just has to come to a boil, and once it does, I shall cover it. If you're feeling itchy and you want to stir it, just give it a nudge. So now that this has come to a boil, I shall put it on simmer and cover it and leave it for around, I think, 5-6 minutes, and it should be done. Good hangover food, huh? So see, it's almost done. Now is when I will add see how yellow the milk has become with the saffron. Amazing fragrance. And cover it yet again and let that saffron fragrance sort of permeate all the rice. Remember, carrot is very sweet, especially these red carrots. They tend to be very sweet, so be careful with your sugar. I'm going to be adding around half a cup. Yeah, 1 kilo carrot, 1 liter of milk, and half a cup of sugar, 2 dollops of ghee. It's already smelling like gajar ka halwa. Now this just needs to dry up. This is done, so I'll switch it off and just let it sit there for 5 minutes before we dish out. Just remember, when it reaches this kind of a consistency, you need to keep stirring it from time to time, otherwise it will stick at the bottom and get burnt. Almost done. The milk has more or less dried up. I'm going to increase the heat now, and because it won't splatter anymore. And I think I should add the nuts in as well. So now basically this just has to fry up and start releasing the ghee, and then you get that nice deep color as well. Gajar ka halwa is also done. As you can see, the milk has totally disappeared, and the ghee is now visible. Can you see that? And the carrots turn a lovely color. Gajar ka halwa should ideally be served hot, warm. Some people do eat it cold, but I like it really nice and hot, because then you get that taste of the ghee in your mouth along with the sugar and the carrots and of course the nuts. So the yakhni pulao is ready. The beauty about yakhni pulao is you have the flavors of all the masalas, but it's just pure rice and meat. Before serving, of course, this beautiful onion goes on top. If anybody wants more and extra, there is more. And we have the cucumber, the salad here, and there's some nice mint chutney. Let us taste. I'm just going to take a little bit because I'm not ready to eat as yet. Oh, look at how soft the meat is. I love this salad. It's gonna be very hot. Too hot, come on. Best thing for a winter day lunch. Time to taste. I'm going to let this cool for a bit. I don't want to burn my mouth like I burnt my mouth with the mutton. Yummy. Really nice. Milk is there. I mean, you can taste the khoya, so to speak. It's very rich. So that's a lazy quick lunch for a hangover day when you don't want to really make too much of an effort, but you want to still make something exotic. So see you guys next week. We'll be back on track on Fridays, and Amit, or junior chef as he calls himself, should be back. Hopefully his holiday is over and he will start cooking again. Bye. Happy 2021. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot for all?